Hi, my name is Jacob Kushner. I'm a foreign correspondent working in East Africa and the Caribbean. I've been doing solutions journalism for a number of years now. I started out in Haiti after an earthquake that they had there. And I remember that there were lots of stories being written about all the failures in aid, and that was mostly my job, is looking at where money was wasted and that sort of thing. But I ended up writing a story about one outlet in Haiti that was trying to change that. So they were connecting suppliers of things like earthquake reconstruction materials, soap, to NGOs who needed to buy that as part of their programs. And so they had found out a way to help improve things after the earthquake by connecting victims, essentially, with people trying to help them in a way that would help local businesses, whereas often NGOs simply circumvent the local businesses importing stuff from abroad when a disaster happens. This outlet had found a way to ingeniously, through a database, connect all these different people together. After that, I had been doing some reporting in Kenya and East Africa, including Somalia. I did a story there about how one group of people were working to help sexual assault victims in Somalia find a better way to seek justice. It's very rare in Somalia that sexual assault victims can even come forward. Often when they come forward to police, they're re-victimized. So that was the problem. And I decided to take a solutions journalism approach by looking at a group of people that was trying to change that. So they were not only trying to change the laws in Somalia to make it a crime to rape your wife, for example, if you're a man in Somalia, but also they were trying to set up what's called a one-stop shop center for victims of rape. Normally victims have to repeatedly tell their story. It can cause a lot of trauma. But at the center, they can speak with a police officer and a medical doctor and a psychologist all at the same time to prevent themselves from having to re-victimize themselves, essentially, and seek justice at the same time. And what was happening was actually 10 years ago, such a center was set up in a different part of Somalia called Somaliland. So my story kind of chronicled how it was working at that other place and how this group of people were trying to model it in Mogadishu, Somalia's capital, to have it work there. I think it's important to have a solutions journalism aspect of things, especially when you're reporting on development aid or things in the developing world. So often we report on poverty, and sometimes we report on great things that certain NGOs, for example, are doing, but often in those cases we haven't even identified whether those NGOs, their programs are really working or not. So I've been doing some solutions journalism reporting about a new science in development aid called randomized control trials and other sorts of tools that are being used to scientifically identify what sort of aid is the best. Eventually, I found by reviewing some of those that one of the best types of aid is cash aid. Simply handing out cash in an impoverished village one time to every family in the village has been scientifically proven in parts of Kenya to be incredibly effective for increasing a family's income in the long term. So that was a way I went about reporting about poverty in East Africa without just focusing on the problem or focusing on a promising idea, but focusing instead on a scientifically proven idea that's been working. I hope that 10 years from now, every story about the developing world, or at least about aid in the developing world, is approached in a solutions journalism way, or at least includes the solutions journalism element. So that instead of simply chronicling the problems and chronicling the ideas, we can chronicle the process toward implementing those ideas and actually reducing poverty in the developed world.